Welcome to Lineups and Lures. Join hosts Joe and Chris as they break down the biggest stories in professional and amateur sports and reel in the best fishing stories and tips. Whether it's game day strategy or the perfect catch, we've got you covered. Grab your gear and get ready. This is Lineups and Lures. Welcome to Masters Week.
Hello, friends.
Such a great week for golf fans.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say it is the week for golf fans.
Well, I think there's 4 weeks a year that are here for golf fans, but this is that kickoff tournament.
But the U.S. Open's also Father's Day. The PGA, no one really cares about, and the British Open's awesome. It's just at the wrong time of the day to watch it. So, but yes, I think the Masters is always just a little special for the fact that it is the only major that's played at the same golf course year in, year out.
Yes. So before we start talking about the golfers and stuff, have you ever put in for the lottery?
1 year, and then I stopped. I should, because it would be an awesome way to do it. The other thing is I would really like to find an opportunity to get to play that track before I'm too old to be able to do it right. And, you know, that's a long golf course up and down a bunch of hills, and there's a few shots on that golf course that, to me, I think the greatest shot on that golf course is the second shot on 13, the par 5 around the corner, trying to hit the ball over Rays Creek and make eagle. I would sit there, and quite frankly, if I ever got that chance, I would keep taking balls out of my bag until I hit my 5-iron to 10 feet, and I don't care if they kick me off after that. I'd want to play the rest of them. But yes, I think that might be, to me, my personal favorite shot in golf, and I think everybody that's watched the Masters has their hole, has their shot, their memories, but it's that kind of stuff that makes this place special. Yeah,
it's just a great golf course. You got all the azaleas and rhododendrons are flowering. I mean, it's just a cool place. And other than the practice round getting banged today, it looks like the weather is supposed to be in the 70s, and it should be pretty nice. So should line up for a really good weather weekend.
Yeah, no, I think that's great, because if Augusta gets slow because it gets wet, you take away some of the protection of that golf course. Those greens are just meant to be undulating and absolutely slick. And if it slows down and guys can start firing at pins and hold tiers, it'll bring the scoring down, which some argue is more exciting. But I think sometimes having to grind out a par is just as exciting as watching a guy make a birdie.
Yeah, for sure. So do you think it's Rory versus the field? Who are you looking at? What's your kind of top 3 going into this tournament?
Yeah, no, that's obviously Rory is the favorite with Vegas. He's at $4.50 right now, so which is obscene when you think about only getting $4.50 against the field. I will take the field on the other side of that if anybody will give it to me. Yeah, Rory's definitely running the hot hand. Joaquin Phoenix has got a couple wins on LIV this year, which depending on what you consider with LIV, but there's a guy there as well. And then you have a couple of guys that I think have to be in the conversation, and that's obviously Bryson. You've got Colin Morikawa, Ludvig Åberg, I think I pronounced that correctly.
Sounds right.
Yeah, those guys have been playing some really good golf. And the funny thing about the Masters is that it seems like every year a veteran comes out. Oh, and Scotty Scheffler, sorry. I forgot to mention Scheffler in there as well, obviously. But what I was going to say,
Rahm.
Oh, Rahm. No, okay, so that's like the young group or the younger group. But every time the Masters, it always seems like there could be a veteran come out of nowhere. You know, does Phil have one more in the tank? Does a guy like Sergio Garcia have one in the tank? Does I tell you what, a guy I do like, and I think his game is built for it, is Cam Smith from Australia. He has been a perennial top 10 guy. I mean, who knows if Adam Scott can putt? Maybe he could win another one. So I think you're going to see, and I don't know who it is, but I think you're going to see someone, a name guy. What's Brooksy going to do this week? What's Dustin Johnson going to do this week? Those are guys that hit the shit out of the ball. They hit it a long way, and if they can putt it, they got a chance to win. So, yeah.
Yeah, it should be an interesting golf tournament. I mean, I think Rory's kind of the heartfelt. Everybody wants to see him get a Masters.
Oh, au contraire, mon frère. I think Rory's the biggest you-know-what in the game. He's arrogant, he's sloppy, he's rude to the media, he doesn't care about the public, and all Rory cares about is Rory. I mean, I don't think there's many people rooting for him at all.
I think a lot of people want to see him win a Masters. I think is that the career Grand Slam for him? Is that the only one he's missing?
Yeah.
I think people want to see that happen because, what has he got? Another maybe 5-year window to do it.
He keeps himself in pretty good shape, so... Yeah, but, you start getting to the wrong side of 40, and, yeah, I mean, it's not impossible, but it gets a lot harder.
Yeah. Do you think the winner will be a PGA Tour pro or a Live Pro guy?
Well, statistically speaking, you're better off taking the PGA on this one because there's a hell of a lot more guys in the field. Man, that's a good question because I think if you took the top 10 guys on Live and put them up against the top 10 guys on the PGA, which is what we've pretty much got. I'm going to go outlaw side this week and go, let's go Live. I'm rooting for Live this week.
So who's your pick to win the whole thing then? Who do you think's going to come out on top or maybe like a top 2?
Bryson.
Yeah? You think the long ball is going to win it this time?
Long ball does win it at that track because you can hit it around the place on a lot of holes and get away with it. Bryson, I mean, there's no one's going back to back since Tiger, 01 or 0102. Scotty Scheffler, I mean, how do you actually say he's not going to win? But he had that little injury earlier in the year, and that maybe that's just he's not quite. He's at a 9.2. He's not at a 10 out of 10 right now. Rory obviously has to be in the mix, and then you look at the guys that have won. That have done well at this golf course. Players that absolutely bomb the ball off the tee. I mean, from Tiger to Phil to Greg Norman to Adam Scott to Dustin Brooks, they all absolutely bomb the ball off the tee. And, that they've putted well that week. And that's the key. So whoever gets hot with the putter, I think, is going to be the one. But I like Bryson.
All right. I'd like to see Rory win. I just want to see that career Grand Slam.
I hope you're wrong.
But I'd love to see like a Scheffler, Rahm, Rory kind of all the way down to the finish. Something exciting to keep you going all the way through that fourth day of 18 holes.
Well, that's the reality of it. When they make that turn on Sunday afternoon, that's where, like you said, you want... I mean, 3 or 4 would be great, but if you could get 7 or 8 guys in that mix.
But I want to see the big name guys,
right.
Like the guys that you pay to go watch. I don't want to. No offense to the amateurs and
right.
the 50th ranked guy in the world. I want to see the best golfers going down the back nine at the Masters.
You want to see DJ. You want to see Rory. You want to see Xander. You want to see. Well, how about a guy like Spieth or JT that kind of have not really done much of late? But you put those household names out there, which absolutely it makes it fun. You just walk through that back nine, amen corner, obviously. You've got 12 is 12. 13, you can make 3 or 7 on that hole, and anywhere in between. 15, you've got that a miraculous second shot over the water where guys can make eagle or they can make 8. 16 speaks for itself, and then obviously that drive on 18 is one like no other. It looks like it's about 3 inches wide between those Georgia pines. So yeah.
Well, let's just hope that the weather holds up. Let's get a good weather weekend and let that course kind of play the way it's supposed to play, and let the best players in the world go compete against each other. So. You had mentioned earlier you're taking Thursday off of work and you're going to do some grilling. So what's on the menu for day 1 of the Masters?
So day 1 of the Masters, we're probably going to do a pork shoulder for one, because we've got some non-steak eaters that may swing by. I'm going to do a tri-tip and a brisket because depending on the amount of folks to feed, so something for everybody.
What about sides? You doing some sides?
We'll keep that pretty simple. Green salad, coleslaw. I might saute up some green beans and asparagus, but we'll keep that. We'll keep it. God, this actually sounds like an adult healthy meal right now. We'll keep it pretty. We'll have some barbecue sauce for the pork if guys want to make sliders and stuff like that. But
yeah, sounds like fun. Looking forward to it.
We'll go keep it adulting this time.
Want to elevate your game? Portland Baseball Club offers private lessons in pitching, hitting, fielding, and catching to help take your skills to the next level. Get personalized coaching from expert instructors and sharpen the techniques that make all the difference. Sign up today at portlandbaseballclub.com and start dominating the diamond this year. All right, in the NHL, we had a big career record broken over the weekend. So Alex Ovechkin, leading goal scorer in the history of the NHL. So I got two pieces to this. All right,
go for it.
So first one, what do you think? So he was 1 goal short.
Yep.
And he told the coaches he didn't want to go back in an empty net situation.
Okay.
What do you think about that? I love it. I want the goal to be scored full strength, man on man. I don't want some empty netter where they're just feeding him a goal. I thought that was awesome.
It's a pretty classy move, if you ask me.
Well, classy guy, right?
I don't know the guy, so I don't know, but I mean, you know me, I'm not a big hockey guy.
But you did get to see him play live once, which
I did.
I've never been able to do. That's pretty cool.
You know, the best thing about hockey is you get 2 half times. You get 2 opportunities to go get beer. No wonder everybody's drunk in that place.
And they're 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's great. But I got one for you, because you're a little more in on the hockey than I am. Like, Wayne Gretzky is referred to as the Great One. It's pretty high praise. You know, Brady's referred to as the GOAT and yada, yada, yada. This is a huge deal. How is it not getting talked about more?
Because the Great One is was not the all-time goal scorer. He's also the all-time assists. And I believe he's right up there in all-time points. Ovechkin is only taking this record. I believe he's somewhere over 1,000 assists away from being the all-time assist leader.
Okay.
So
But
now
still,
I will say Ovechkin is right up there, I believe, on the all-time hits list. So I mean, you got to play a long time and be a pretty physical player to be on that list. I just think that the Great One's the Great One for a reason. He holds a ton of records, got a couple trophy hoists throughout his career, and I think Ovechkin got 1 maybe. So I
know that because I heard it on the radio this morning driving to the office.
There you go. So I just it's hockey, I think, first of all. And second
Would
of all,
it be different if we were in a different part of the country? Do you think that maybe
if we were in Canada,
okay,
this is a huge deal.
Okay.
In Oregon, where we don't have an NHL team, in the Northwest, where we only had 1 for 3 years now, I don't think it's as big of a deal. On the national stage, it is a big deal because it is an all-time record.
Do you think it's because he's not American?
I don't think that has much to do with it.
Okay.
If you look at a chart as to where the NHL players are, they're pretty much all Canadian.
Got it. Okay.
And there's your Finns and the Russians and stuff. And I know where you're baiting me at, and I'm not going to take it.
Come on, take it. Go.
So I got a question back for you.
Yeah, got it.
How do you feel about all-time records being broken like this?
Okay, so I'm going to have to revert it to a different sport.
We could talk about any sport.
Okay.
Any all-time record.
There's so many tranches to that question because games change, rules change, the spirit of the way a game is played is so much different. Like, Steph Curry dropping threes all night. I don't think he's the same player 30 years ago when there was no three-point line. I mean, that his value is diminished. He's not a guy that's going to bang in the lane and go do that. Now, it's not taking anything away from Steph. It's just a different game than when other guys played. So, you look at, let's talk about baseball because that's one I can talk about very well. The height of the mound has changed dramatically over the years. It's gone up, it's gone down. Baseballs have changed dramatically over the years. The strike zone has changed dramatically over the years. All of those changes either helped the pitcher or they hurt the pitcher or they helped the hitter or they hurt the hitter. So I think there's a lot. I think when you're really looking at talking about the greats, you should kind of look at 10, 12, 15-year periods and see which guys did what in which period against their peers playing the same game.
So I'm thinking more about it as career numbers and say Nolan Ryan's strikeout record. Like, is there any chance that ever gets broken? And do you ever want to see that get broken? Because that's just such a crazy record. I mean, the number of strikeouts is going to be hard. Or Cal Ripken's consecutive games, which we know will never be broken because, people can't even get to 1,000 games in today's game.
Well, and it's not prudent not to. It's shown you better off giving a guy a day off every once in a while, so it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, or, career touchdowns. I can see that one being one that's going to be broken because the rules have changed.
No, that one will go for sure. Yeah.
But seeing some of these, the strikeouts, the all-time wins in a career, seeing those records that have been held, like Gretzky's record's been held for 30 years or something.
Sure.
I mean, it's a long time.
Right. Yep.
What do you think about those records being broken versus more of a single season type record? Well,
I mean, I kind of go back to my statement. I mean, I think you've got to look at the era in which you play. For instance, how many times does a pitcher go over 103 pitches anymore? 0. Half the time they don't even let him go through the lineup the third time. I mean, that's just the sabermetrics or whatever you want to look at, and they're not false. I mean, if you look at your batting average against first, second, third time through the lineup, there are major jumps. This is a real thing. This is, we're not making this up. So, no, you're not going to see a guy throw 280 innings in a season anymore. They're on most teams are running a 6-man rotation at least early in the season. Everyone's on a pitch count. So those in baseball, that's not going to happen. Even the consecutive game one's never going to happen because it's proven that you're better off giving a guy a day off here and there. So, I stick to my original statement. I think when you look at records, which is unfortunate, right? Because I remember the world stopping every time Barry Bonds would get up to the plate, or the year where you had McGuire and Sosa going head to head. I mean, the world would stop while they were getting an at-bat, and it was awesome. I don't know if we see too much of that going down the line.
Yeah, I think the great part about Ovechkin is he didn't stick around to break the record. He's still a top performer on a really good team. And,
right.
LeBron breaking the all-time scoring list. He's not just sitting on the bench. He's a guy that's playing.
That guy's a punk.
He plays 60 out of 82 games a year. He's playing a lot.
And flops in all 60 of them.
But he's playing. He's not just hanging around to break records. He's still trying to win a championship.
He has a meaning. Is he a league MVP anymore? No. Is he an absolute starter rotation player in the NBA? Yes, he is.
Yeah. So I think it's a great thing when guys break all-time records or approach all-time records, especially when they do it the right way.
Well, if you want to talk about a guy that probably could have hit another 100 home runs, Barry Bonds wasn't done.
Well, he was done because he wasn't allowed back in Major League Baseball. They wanted him out.
Yeah. But that guy probably had 2, 3, 4 seasons in him. That bat was, I think he's the greatest player ever played the game, but that's neither here nor there. But yes, so my point is that I think these records, if you want to say I own the record, you should say I own the record of the 2010s or the 2000s. But to bring it back to Ovechkin, I think it's great. I'm surprised people aren't talking about it. Hopefully for hockey people, it was a good thing. And yeah.
Hey there, I'm Chad with Jackson Painting and Remodel, and if you're looking to give your home a fresh new look, you've come to the right place. Whether you need a bold new color for your living room or a fresh coat to brighten up your home's exterior, my team and I have got you covered. We specialize in both indoor and outdoor painting, using only the best materials to make sure your space looks amazing and stands the test of time. If you're ready to transform your home, visit jacksonpainting.com. I'd love to come by, chat about your ideas, and give you a free estimate. At Jackson Painting and Remodel, we don't just paint, we make your vision a reality. Again, visit jacksonpainting.com or call 503-620-2600.
Mariners had a tough weekend.
Mariners had a very tough weekend. Mariners haven't really they've had a tough start of the year.
They have. And, the Giants are not exactly a pushover right now. They have quietly the best record in the NL West after the weekend, a little 3-game sweep. And it wasn't that the Mariners played bad. Even Julio came out after the 3-game set and was like, we played pretty good baseball. Really nothing to be super disappointed about other than we lost 3 games. And unfortunately, I think the win just was out of the sails after the Robles injury there at the end of the game, and that kind of took that. But it was a tough weekend down in San Francisco, but we scored some runs. We showed some signs of life, and now it's a question of what happens next because we're struggling. Injury bug is hitting us hard, and places we just can't take it.
Well, first of all, I'm really happy I took Julio to lead the team in hits, not Victor Robles. So I'm really happy about that I made that decision.
There was a disclaimer that this is all barring injury, remember?
Yeah, I do. But I'm winning this one right now. So
No, you are not winning this one right now because Robles is still the leader on the team in hits.
I will bet you a lot that Julio has more than him at the end of the season.
That's probably true.
How about by the end of April? That way, just in case Julio gets hurt later. Let's not even talk about that. Mariners have a problem because they need a leadoff hitter. They can find a right fielder. I would imagine. I haven't. Are they playing today, or is today a travel day?
No, we got Houston in town. We got Houston and then Texas this week. So they just before we hopped on here, they put Robles on the 10-day.
Okay.
Said left shoulder dislocation, and they brought up Canzone to replace him on the roster, which is not the guy that I would have picked.
Who would you have picked?
I probably would have went with Locklear. Because let's get into this. So who replaces Robles in right field?
All right, so I think I don't mind what you're doing with Locklear there. I'm assuming we're moving JP up to the leadoff spot at this point.
Let's not talk about that yet.
Okay.
Who's replacing Robles in right field?
Well, it's either got to be Rayleigh every day, or it's got to be. I like Locklear. I saw what. Well, he's going to play first base, so Rayleigh will go out to the outfield,
or Dylan Moore, or Mastroboni. I mean, that's your other option. So Luke Rayleigh's probably going to be out in right field against right-handed pitchers. So Dylan Moore will probably be out there versus left-handed pitchers. So you're kind of start platooning right field. But what that does is now what do you do at third base? Because Polanco is still dealing with this lingering knee issue. And you know what, he missed 4 out of the 5 games last week, 2 for paternity leave and 2 for rest on his knee, which is still bothering him, which is not a good sign. We need that bat in the lineup. He's already been one of our best producing bats. Getting absolutely nothing out of Tellez at first base. You know, we pinched hit Mastroboni for Solano at the end of the game. Like, isn't Solano here to hit?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing with our lineup usage? So, who's going to play right field? And then how does that trickle down to all these other positions before we even talk about the lineup?
So I think at some point with Rayleigh, it's got to be not a platoon situation. Let's see if he can hit left-handed pitching. I mean, at some point, if he wants to be an everyday player, you got to hit righties and lefties. That's big boy baseball. So I would use this time to do that. I would go and have him play. The other thing is, I think I'm missing someone in the minor. There's got to be someone in the minor leagues that I'm missing. I thought we had an outfielder that could hit a little bit coming up in Double A or Triple A. Am I wrong on that one?
Oh, we got a lot of guys that can hit coming up in Double A, Triple A.
That can play outfield.
But are any of them ready to come up? And is it really in their best interest to bring them up at this point?
Well, there's multiple questions there. The other thing is do we go make a trade? I mean, do we go make a trade?
Too early to make a trade. Well, I think we got to give a few of these younger guys or guys down in the minor leagues an opportunity.
What if you just got a veteran presence for the rest of the year?
Who's that?
I don't know who it is. I don't have somebody in mind.
Are there any teams selling 10 games into the season? Like, that's the other point, is who's going to be looking to make a deal at this point? I think it has to be from inside the organization.
Are there any free agents sitting out there that didn't get a 40-man roster that is sitting available?
Anthony Rizzo's out there.
If he comes,
does that solve your first base issue, and then you put Rayleigh in right field full time and see if he can hit against lefties?
He hasn't hit a lick for a while.
Well, he was concussed most of the year, undiagnosed, so that kind of hurt him last year.
Okay. Maybe. I mean, if it's a major league minimum contract or something, sure, it doesn't hurt you. But there's not a guy I'm counting on to be the savior of my season.
No. So that's where I think.
You know who we could get?
Who's that?
We've already paid him. We don't even have to pay him anymore.
Who's that?
We could just go and get Hannigan back. He plays right field.
Hey, that might be an option.
Well, I mean, it's not completely stupid. The guy's been through spring training. He's ready to go. Why wouldn't you go get Hannigan back? You've already paid him.
Well, You cut him at the end of spring training because he couldn't hit. I don't know if he's even ready to play yet with the shoulder injury that he was dealing with. So it doesn't really solve the short-term problem. But why not go Rayleigh in right field?
Okay.
And maybe have Dylan Moore out there every once in a while.
Good.
And then you bring up Tyler Locklear and you put him at first base.
I'm fine with that.
And see if he can do it. I mean, he just had four hits the other night, like playing well at the AAA level. Like, give the guy a shot.
I'm absolutely fine with that.
Because he is supposed to be your future at first base. But the problem is third. If Polanco's not going to be an everyday third baseman, which it's looking like if he's still having these knee issues, he's not going to be able to play every single day at third.
Okay.
So if we're facing a left-handed pitcher, who's going to play third? Because you're going to want Dylan Moore out in right field. So now you need to have a third baseman.
But that's where I say let's find out if Rayleigh can hit lefties and go down and put Demo at third.
Sure, give him a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've been around the game enough to know that it's not impossible for left-handed hitters to hit left-handed pitches. I mean, no one talks about righties having the same problem. I mean, if he wants to be an everyday player, then this is his shot. And yeah, I mean, I know the book says one thing, but Barry Bonds didn't come out of the lineup because there was a left-hander starting on the mound that night. I mean,
he was the greatest hitter of all time.
Okay, but you know what I'm getting at. But
yeah. So what do you do with the lineup? Who's got to move into that leadoff spot?
So I think short term, I would go with JP up top, just because it's something he's done before. It's an easy transition. He knows how to hit in front of Julio because he's done it before. I don't like it as the long-term solution because I think JP's got some sneaky pop in his bat, and I think he sees a hell of a lot different pitching in the 8-9 hole than he does in the 1 hole. But that's where I would start, purely because it's a plug and play and everyone's done it before. But I still would have an option of I'm looking for the long-term solution, which isn't that. This is to get me to that solution.
I think that makes the most sense. I think you move JP to the leadoff and you put Bliss in the 9 hole. Mm-hmm. But I'm also kind of, why not try Bliss in the leadoff spot? Because when that guy gets on base, it's pretty dynamic. He's taking bases. He runs the bases well. Obviously, on base percentage is not what we're looking for out of a leadoff hitter, but maybe he changes his approach a little bit, gets on base a little bit more. I mean, it might be a little spark at the top, and hey, if it doesn't work out, you still got our 2, 3, 4 guys coming up right after him.
Yeah, no, I'm not against that. I'm not against that at all. I think that there's a guy, like you said, I mean, I think we called him a little spark plug. Watching, I think it was game 1 of the season, actually. I mean, he just got out there, started running around. And yeah, no, that's another thing. The other thing that I would also consider, and I would have a conversation with the player before I did this, but hitting Julio leadoff is something that I would also consider. Ohtani does it for the Dodgers.
Aaron Judge did it when he was chasing the home run record.
So why not give your best hitter the most at-bats that he can get? I think that would actually take pressure off Julio from thinking he has to hit home runs to why don't I get on base, steal second, and steal third? And that's another option that I think could be, the way I look at that is that if he truly is, if he's able to do that and do that well, then you've got an opportunity to put, is Locklear or Raleigh going to be a fixture in this lineup for the long term? I would love to see Rayleigh hit in the 2 hole. Then you've got a right left. Then you've also got Cal coming up in the 3 hole switch hitter, a Rosarina at 4. That's okay. Maybe we got something here.
So you would put Julio at leadoff?
I would flirt with the idea, yeah. I'd obviously have a conversation with him.
Yep. So the lineup's in for tonight.
Okay.
Julio Rodriguez hitting leadoff, playing center field.
There you go. Who's hitting in the 2 hole?
Polanco DHing.
Okay, so he is playing today.
So he's playing DH,
Okay.
but you're going to have to DH him. He just can't be out on the field every day.
Okay, so then you've got
And then you got Randy. Randy hitting 3.
Oh, Rosarina's hitting 3.
Yeah, Cal in the 4 hole.
Hold on a second. Polanco's lefty?
Switch.
Okay, so they can go left, right. Okay, that's why they've done it. Then they're moving Cal to the 4 hole, obviously.
Cal in the 4. Rayleigh out in right field.
Yep.
Rowdy at first base. Demo at third. Bliss at second. Crawford at short. So
yeah, so no surprises there.
Not really any surprises.
That's for right now, that's our lineup.
Yeah. And
Well,
that's not a bad lineup if Dylan Moore can produce and get on base.
So,
Because his third base play is substantially better than Polanco's.
well, he did win the Gold Glove last year.
As a utility, though, right?
That's almost more impressive to me. I mean, he had to do it at 4 spots.
Sure, but I mean, you're seeing Polanco 2-hop throws across the infield. It's a lack of arm strength, which, you look at. This was always kind of my concern with Bazana at Oregon State, was you looked at the way that he threw the baseball across the infield. You're pigeonholing yourself into second base because it just doesn't look like a shortstop throw. It's
care.
weak.
I don't care how that guy throws the ball. Have you seen him swing it? What did he do yesterday? 4 for 4, I think, yesterday.
Yeah, but there's certain guys. Once you've played a season at second base, you start losing arm strength.
Yeah.
You start changing your arm motion because, all you got to do is be like Robinson Cano and just flip the ball over to first base most of the time.
I think Trav must have watched a lot of Robinson Cano back in the day.
He probably did.
Because he had that flip move down pretty good.
So making that move for Polanco from second to third is definitely a difference in arm strength and stuff. And I think Dylan Moore is much better suited to play third and have Polanco at that DH spot.
All right, riddle me this, Batman. For the time being, first base is still open. I don't think you could say right now.
Wide open.
It is open, right? So why we didn't get that Casas from Boston? Why we didn't make that move, I don't know, because that guy can smoke the baseball. But
Well, okay. Here, before we move on to the rest of your question, guess who we play this week?
the Red Sox.
Houston.
Okay.
Guess who their first baseman is?
Oh yeah, it's the guy from Arizona that we should have got.
Yeah, how many under 2-3 home runs that he hits this week in T-Mobile Park? I mean, the guy's going to torch us. That's just how it is as a Mariners fan.
Well, I was pushing hard for him. I was.
I think everybody was, except for ownership.
I mean, we were pushing. It was either him or the big donkey out in New York, and we couldn't get either one of them.
So keep going where you were going.
So where I was going with this is, if Polanco's arm strength is a problem, and Locklear has not exactly got a grip on the first base spot at all at this point. Hell, he's not even on the roster until today. He didn't even make the opening day roster. So what do you think about Polanco playing a little first? I don't think Demo is your long-term solution at third just because you need a bigger bat at third base. I want to see more offense out of that position. We got to get offense from somewhere. So Polanco at first gets him in the lineup. Doesn't have to worry about his arm strength. If you can play third base, you can play first base. You should be able to play that. What do you think about that?
I got a little trivia for you.
Okay.
Do you know what position Tyler Locklear was drafted as? And what position he played in college?
Third base.
Third base.
Okay.
Maybe we should start seeing him at third base in some AAA games.
It wouldn't be, I mean...
The problem is there is a third baseman down at AAA level, Ben Williamson, that's meant to kind of be our next third baseman at this point, but he's not a big offensive guy. He's a really good defensive guy. So we don't need that. We have that.
Got that already, yeah.
The problem is if you make Polanco a full-time first baseman, what do you do with Solano? And what do you do with Tellez? Tellez, you dump him. That's not a lot of money.
Tellez was a flip a coin. It costs nothing to do. Let's see what happens. And that's
not a big deal.
It's a non-starter. Solano, I think it's like a $3 million base with like incentives to get to 6 or something. You walked away from Mitch's $15 million. What's 3 more? Or he might still have value as a pinch hitter, or a guy needs a day off type deal. So you're not losing a whole lot there. Look, at the end of the day, there's one other thing I'd like to throw at you. Can our backup catcher play first base?
That was something I was thinking about. Is that a spot for him to go and see if he could fill in a little bit?
Because I mean, typically,
hey, how about this one? How about our starting catcher? Has he gotten any reps at first base yet?
Oh, you're speaking my language. I've already brought this up to you a million times. I mean, look, if you're a catcher, there is a pretty good chance that you can play third or first base. Receiving the ball behind the plate is, other than shortstop, the hardest thing to do in baseball, and it's tough. It's every play. There's no days off. There's no pitches off. You get every one of them. So, yeah, I'd like to see ultimately, if Cal wasn't so stinking good behind the plate, I'd love to see him play first base. I think he might hit 30 points higher and another 5-10 home runs, but that's not going to happen today. But yes, I think we need to look at Garver and Cal getting some opportunity at first. Polanco at first, potentially, or DH. Let's get that bat in the lineup. For right now, I think it's Demo at 3 and whoever at first. Raleigh out in right field until our leadoff hitter is healthy again. And I think you've got to finally start to see if Locklear can make that step up. The other thing is we've got Ford, the catcher in AAA. Is he a real deal player? Can he come up and catch some nights and then Cal can play first or DH? All of these things are in play. So,
yeah, I think that last scenario is more in play next year. I don't think you're going to move Cal midseason over there. And I think you give Ford a full season at AAA, or at least a full half a season of playing every single day. Because if he moves up to the big league level, he's going to catch every 1 out of 5 games probably.
Yeah.
That's not really fair to him as we need him to continue developing. So that's something I think for next year, but just interesting. I mean, maybe one of our catchers slides over there, but I would have liked to have seen Locklear come up and be given that opportunity instead of bringing up Canzone, who's it's Demo again, it's Bliss again, it's Mastroboni again. Like, it's all the same guy. Like, let's try something different instead of beating our head against the wall. So I don't know. It's an interesting predicament that the Mariners are in at the beginning of the season. And we haven't even talked about the pitching staff, which is especially our bullpen is really struggling right now. When you don't strike guys out coming out of the bullpen, you're in for a long season. But that's a topic for later in the week. Enjoyed Lineups and Lures? Like, share, and rate the show to help us grow. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening, and catch you next time on Lineups and Lures.